If you're in Seattle, and you need to buy or sell a home, we'll be right there for you. Because we're the realtors that you can trust. So go to ronanddonsitdown.com.
You're listening to The Ron and Don Show on the Ron and Don Radio Network.
Hey, you guys, what's going on? Welcome to episode 864 of The Ron and Don Show. It's a Friday show, so it's one segment, and it's real estate only. Don't forget, every Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, we give you The Ron and Don Show. We do local topics. We talk about ourselves quite a bit, and then we also talk about the news, and then more about ourselves. And then, of course, we talk sports, more about us, usually more about me than Ron. And then after that, then we talk about current events, and then events that aren't even current, and then more about us. And then on Friday, we talk about a deal that we're working on within real estate. The reason that we do this is, number one, we would love to talk real estate with you and meet you on your real estate journey wherever you're at. And then I think number two, when we first got into real estate, I was always looking for a podcast where I could sit down with a couple brokers and they could just kind of explain things to me. And I was talking to a guy that came to one of our open houses the other day, and he started listening to some guys on air. Next thing you know, he went to a free, quote-unquote, seminar. And then this guy taught him how to buy and flip homes. To go to their special university, he paid $40,000, and on his first flip, he lost over $100,000.
Wow. Good college.
And he's still out there trying to flip homes. And English was his second language. He moved here. He's on a visa from another part of the world. And I felt really bad for him that there wasn't. So we stood out in the front lawn and we just talked about flipping homes versus owning homes versus being a buy and hold investor. And I said, hey, let me share some things with you that have been shared with me, my mentors, and I'm going to pass some information on to you. That he's like, yeah, I didn't get this in my $40,000 education of how to lose $100,000 in my first flip. So anyway, let's talk about this. We did something this week, and we're usually on the sell side of a lot of homes, right? We sell a lot of homes. You contact us from all over the sound because you listen to us all over the sound, which gives us kind of a unique perspective. And we have a home right now that's down in South Seattle. This home is owned by a couple, two gentlemen that were partners, and they passed away. The home then has been left for a particular organization that they really loved and believed in. And then there was
proceeds from the home.
Yeah, the proceeds. And then the attorney that was hired us to help sell the home. Initially, what we thought we were going to do is take this house, what we always do, and renovate the house. This particular case, we didn't do that. Not only did we not renovate this house, we didn't clean this house. On the day we were having our first open house, I had the lawn was being mowed as we did the open house, and I did that on purpose. We didn't do a sewer inspection with this house. We did do an overall inspection of the house, which we don't have to do because people that have passed away are not around to defend the house, so usually people want to do their own inspection. We didn't take really pretty pictures of the house. We didn't do twilight photos. You've seen those where the lights are on. And usually real estate agents take those pictures, especially in the Pacific Northwest, because there's lots of rain. So we'll do twilight photos, and we'll do those either in the morning or in the evening, because sometimes that kind of makes up for a stormy day. And we didn't do a Matterport of this house. We went. Our budget is kind of as low as it can go. One of the reasons, well, Ron, I'll ask you, why was that our approach on this house? And I have to say, hundreds of people now have gone through the house. I had 71 people show up at my open house the other day. I think you had a couple dozen people show up. We've had, I think, 43 appointments to go in the house. Our offer review is coming up on Thursday. There's probably been more interest in this house that we didn't stage or photograph than maybe any other house that we've ever sold. Why'd we do it this way?
Well, because the house needs some significant deferred maintenance. And when your house is, you want to represent the reality of a house. And I'll give you an example of one thing that frustrates me and when we represent buyers. Sometimes a buyer will see a house. You go to the house in person, and then you realize all of the staging in the house was virtual staging. You can go right now, you can take photos of a house, send it to a foreign country where labor is very cheap, and they will make virtual reality furniture and put it in the house, send it back to you. And so the client sees this house it's fully furnished and it looks beautiful. It's like right out of Dwell magazine. You walk into the house and there's nothing there.
Yep.
And so it's very, very disappointing. And so the thing that you're selling is not actually the thing that it is in reality. And when you take a house to its peak performance, like you said, staged, cleaned, photographed well, 3D, you have twilight pictures. What is the message you're sending to the marketplace? This is a house that is turnkey ready. When you show up here in person, we want that experience to surpass what we've done in the marketing so that you absolutely are willing to pay top dollar for this house. That is a strategy that does very well for a house that is turnkey ready, where the deferred maintenance has been taken care of. And when you go in there, you're like, okay, I'm ready to pay full retail for this house. I'm going to Nordstrom. I'm not going to Nordstrom Rack, and I'm not going to Ross Dress for Less. I'm going to Nordstrom, and I'm getting the Nordstrom experience. However, if you have a house that has deferred maintenance, and we're not going to lie and cover that up, we went to this client and said, we can remedy this house and take care of this deferred maintenance. Here's the budget for that remedy. And they said, hey, this person has passed away. This money's going to charity. We don't want to take on that kind of burden right now because it doesn't fit with our goals for what this house is going to do. This house, we want it to sell quickly. We want to get as much money as we can for the state that it's in. And then that money, those proceeds go back to a charitable organization. Yeah. And so the choice for this house was to not do those things.
And so does some of our commission. We throw our commission back toward the organization that we believe in as well.
And so we are basically taking this house, getting it to a state where it can be representative of what the house is, and then disclose that to the marketplace and let the marketplace decide if there's interest. But we had to price it accordingly.
Yeah. What we don't want to have happen on a house like this is for a bunch of retail buyers to show up and then for someone to buy a house like this and get in over their heads. Like we know, because we had it inspected, that there's a foundation issue. There'd be a lot of realtors that wouldn't disclose that would put lipstick on, and I would call it a pig. It's a cool house. It has a great view of Lake Washington. Like, it's an awesome property. I love it. What we don't want to do is have a retail buyer come in, though, get in over their head, and then turn around and blame these two guys right here, or blame the charity that we represent and say, hey, how could this charity, and if I name the charity, you would know the charity, and it's very well respected. We didn't want that to happen. And in talking with the attorney that we partnered with, we're like, no, let's take the inspection. Let's allow people to come in and inspect it. Let's put this at a price that's a fair price for what the house is, and then allows room for someone to come in and buy the house and fix the house, right? And so what it has done is it hasn't attracted the retail buyer. It's attracted the builder. It's attracted the flipper. And it's also attracted someone that might be a rehabber like Ron and I are. He's rehabbing a house up on Queen Anne right now. Those are the buyers that we wanted to attract because they'll walk in, they'll see what's wrong, they'll read the report, they'll write an offer, and it won't scare them. And it'll give them enough room in their budget to not only fix the house and repair the house, but then turn around and sell the house and make some money. I don't have a problem with that. What we do a lot of times for our sellers is we actually, in some ways, we're helping them flip a house. They're saying, this is the house that I have. This is the budget that we have. And we're like, okay, instead of selling this house with this deferred maintenance or with these cosmetic issues, let's go ahead, bring our team in. We're doing this up in Edmonds right now. We have a house up in Edmonds, just put a new roof on it. We're touching every wall, every cabinet, every piece of hardware. We've ripped out a lot of things within the house. Today we're attacking the yard, and we're doing lots of other things in this house. What we're doing for the son that was left behind in this particular situation, because he does have the money to renovate the house. We're like, let us help you renovate it. We're not going to overspend. And then you flip the house. This house is left to him by his parents.
So time out on that house so that people understand this. You always talk about forcing appreciation. What do you think the difference is between doing nothing on a house in Edmonds, doing the thing that you just did? How much more money will
$200,000.
They'll put $200,000 more in their pocket.
And this is after you've gone back, you've taken the money that you have, you've invested in the home, you sell the home, and then you pay yourself back whatever the money is that you invested in that house. We're going to invest about $75,000 into the house when it's all said and done. So we're not overdoing it. We could invest $200,000 in that. We're not. You have to be careful about the work that you're doing, the neighborhood you're in, and the house that it is, and understand the house that it's not.
So that investment, in terms of, it's almost 300%.
If he was saying, I'm going to hang on to the house and sell it in 5 years, then I would have really hot rodded the kitchen and the bathrooms, and we would have done some other things. We're not doing that. We're not hot rodding those. We are going in and addressing cosmetic issues. We have, and I'll give you an example, like in the kitchen, I was there yesterday. We're not pulling out the cabinets. We're taking the cabinets that are there. We're going to repaint them, put new pulls on them, use new hardware. We're putting in a new floor. We're bringing in new appliances. But let's say we were going to remodel that kitchen, and now the sink doesn't line up where the sink was. And you start moving the stacks of things around in the plumbing, and then you start getting into the walls and changing all the electric. That's where it starts getting real expensive.
So my point was
So if you're renovating a house on Queen Anne right now, you're not renovating that house for what that house is going to be worth when you're done with it, because hopefully you're going to hold it. You're doing the kind of renovations of saying, hey, I'm going to spend a little bit more money because where the house is, where that house is, especially in relationship to a certain elementary school up there that everybody wants their kid to go to, and we're in the shadow of tech. Yeah, you know what? You build that house in such a way. Don't put a surround bath in there. Go ahead and tile the bathroom, because that's where that neighborhood is at, and that's where that neighborhood's going to continue to go.
So my point being is, like, this client will pocket around $200,000 more.
The one in
Edmonds.
Yep.
The one that we were talking about, that where we did not do any deferred maintenance, you just have to pay attention to where. That's when Don and I talk about, we want to meet you on your real estate journey where you're at. These two people were at different spots.
Completely different spots.
And so you have to pay attention to that. And sometimes someone goes, well, I want to put all the money in my pocket, but I don't have the money for the rehab. Well, then you need to change your strategy. That strategy doesn't work for you.
That's right.
If you don't have the wherewithal to have the rehab budget, then you don't reap the rewards that the person that did the rehab gets.
That's right.
And so it's a simple equation. And so sometimes you get a piece of property where it's just like, hey, your only play is to sell it as is.
Yeah, and
that's your only play.
Yeah, and this one back down in the south end, because it has a huge backyard with a beautiful view. So a builder's going to be interested, because they're going to take that house, maybe turn it down and build two homes, because it's on an alley. It's called a through lot. Or a builder may come in and say, I'm going to take that 2-bedroom. I'm going to fix the house that's there, because it's a mid-century house. It's pretty cool. I'm going to make that a 4-bedroom, and then I'm going to make a daydo in the backyard, and maybe with the basement, because there's already a kitchen down there. Maybe I'll put an ADU down there. Maybe I'll put 3 doors on this one lot, and the lot's almost 6,000 square feet. So you can do that in Seattle. Someone else may look at that and say, I'm going to take the house that's here. I'm going to fix the house that's here. I'm going to leave it a 2-bedroom. I'm going to fix that foundation. I'm going to put a fence in the backyard because I have a dog. And that's how I'm going to use this property. And then maybe in the future, I'll do something with that free piece of real estate known as the backyard. So there's all kinds of different options. We wanted to make sure that the wrong person didn't buy this house. They get in over their head. They're like, I'm going to move into this thing with my family. The foundation be damned, and then the next thing you know, a part of the house collapses on them. We didn't want that to happen.
Yeah, and I don't think that was going to collapse, but I get your point.
Well, you never
an
earthquake?
An earthquake, it could.
What about if there was a 17.1 earthquake?
Then every house is collapsing.
Yeah, so it's important to understand. Like, I'm going to go look at a house in Ording this weekend. I've already looked at it. It's a beautiful home. The gentleman that lives there is an electrician, a great carpenter. But they've also had 4 dogs in the home. So when you walk in there, it smells like a kennel. Their house, though, like the cosmetic work that we need to do on the house, we want to do this work because it's going to help them when they turn around to sell the house. And there's no deferred maintenance as far as mechanicals go because they have done a beautiful job in taking care of this home. So those are the kind of things that you want to think of. You know, we had a house over in Port Ludlow that we just sold. When I walked into that house, the parents had collected. There was a lot of stuff. And then also, you know, there's a basement. Someone had started doing the floor down there. Someone had torn out 4 toilets that were sitting out in the garage. It was our job to go in and to fix this house, bring it back to life. And it's a pretty cool house now.
Absolutely.
Over there on the Sound. So sometimes it's a big lift. Sometimes it's a smaller lift. But it's important to not overspend. Don't start doing big bathroom and kitchen remodels when you're selling something. There is a way to lipstick it, make it look remodeled without spending all that money, you guys. So anything else you'd like to add?
No, I think that that situation, I guess the one thing I would like to add is in both of these scenarios that you just described, it involved a loved one passing away. And there's a lot of cloud, your mind cloud happens there. You're dealing with the grief of losing someone. You have brain fog. It's difficult to get going. And so Don and I can step in that instance and take some of the pressure off.
Totally.
Lift some of that burden with you. We're not going to process the grief for you, but we can give you some real logical steps to get things moving. And once you start to get momentum, it becomes easier and easier as time goes on, and that burden gets lighter and lighter. So,
yeah, and if you're older and you're moving, or even if you're midlife like we are, and you're in a midlife pickle like I am, I talked about in episode 861 with my turkey chicken neck. We're not going to go into that here. Anytime you move, use that as an opportunity to downsize your life, get rid of stuff. We're sitting on some old bar stools here that I hung on to that were in the basement of a house of a gentleman that passed away that hung on to everything. When I saw these bar stools, it reminded me of the bar stools I had in my grandparents' basement. So I hung on to them because I always thought, hey, if we build a studio, we'll use these bar stools. But if these bar stools were out in my garage for another 6 months or a year and I didn't use them, these bar stools would be gone, right? We have to be able, all the stuff that you think your kids want that you're leaving behind, they don't. They don't want any of your shit. They don't want any of it. So dump it, get rid of it, give it to Ron. He has lots of room in his house. So, hey, you guys, thanks for listening to this episode of The Ron and Don Show. If you need us, what do you do?
Hey, go to ronanddonsitdown.com, or you can email me directly, ron@ronanddon.com.
Yeah, we got a buyer's playbook, a seller's playbook. We get signed up for the Nation News. And then when we sit down with you, we just figure out where you're at on your journey. And whether you're selling, buying, or investing, especially if it's kind of a 1-2 punch, like we have our friend Todd, who we've helped do a number of real estate deals. We're getting ready to sell a condo and possibly buy another home. It's 1-2. So we have to look at what is happening in the condo market right now, where this condo is, and then also what is happening in the market right now, where he would like to, and we're doing something for his daughter, where she's going to leave the condo. After we sell that, use the proceeds to buy a new house. We have to understand, what is the condo market? What kind of money can we derive from that, called net proceeds? And then what can we turn around and afford to go buy? And what's that going to look like? So if you need us, we are here. We love to sit down with you virtually. And then just like I'm doing on Saturday, we'd love to come out and see your property, meet you, and bring you a Ron and Don I Sat Down mug. So how about that? All right. So head up, shoulders back. Until next time, you've been listening to the Ron and Don Show. Real estate only on the Ron and Don Radio Network.
Well, that's it. Show's over. We'll see you next time on the Ron and Don Radio Network.